Hey, Marty here. Welcome to the Sublime to the Ridiculous video blog edition. We've all thought, growing up, we've all thought about how we could get ways to revenge ourselves on our parents for the times where they did us wrong. We've all thought about it. Maybe it was the childish running away from home. Maybe it was the not so childish, but actually pretty good comeback of I'll tell grandma. You know, things we think of in our own childish little ways, how we get back at our parents for doing us wrong. Well, me pops, he could have went on strike against me Grandpa Joe. It's absolutely true. If Grandpa Joe had gotten Dad too upset, Dad could have legally went on strike against his father. Here's the story. Grandpa rented welding machines, as I'm sure I've well established by now, and in the 50s and 60s especially, there were job sites, because these welders were used for major construction sites, building erections and stuff typically. There were sites where you had to have a union card to get on the site. And in the case of Joe Cosgrove Electric Welding Machine Rentals, well, the union man was Dad. Grandpa Joe paid his union dues and everything for Dad to be a Teamster, and that kind of helped them both out. If there was any question about union membership on a construction site, Joe would send Bill. Bill had a Teamster card. Bill could go on the construction site. And it benefited my dad, too, because, with me among 7 kids, it behooved him to have things such as health care, because kids did things like needed braces or broke arms or things like that. He needed it for the other kids, not me, because I never gave him any trouble at all, of course. Anyway, Dad was a Teamster. Dad was a union man working for my grandfather, and I still remember the business agent. I think it was Local 245, I'm not sure. But I remember about every 3 years, the business agent would come into the shop and talk to Grandpa Joe, and he'd have the master contract there for Joe to approve. And there was never any problem, of course. Grandpa would approve the contract, Dad would stay a Teamster, and there would be no labor strife at Cosgrove Welding Machine Rentals. But I've thought more than once, and I even asked Dad a time or two, gee, Pop, what would you do if the Teamsters ever told you to go on strike? And Dad would just, he'd smile and say, that's just never going to happen. And we knew it would never happen, but I can't help but imagine sometimes, business agent comes in, Joe doesn't like the master contract, Joe doesn't like the addendums they put on that are peculiar to his business, and Joe refuses to sign. And the business agent turns around and says, well, Bill, I guess you got to go on strike. I could just see my father marching up and down Rosa Parks Boulevard. It was called 12th Street at the time in Detroit. But I could just see the old man walking up and down 12th Street in front of the old barn with a sign that said, Joe Cosgrove Unfair, Joe Cosgrove Unfair. And I've even wondered, would he chant that? Joe Cosgrove Unfair, Joe Cosgrove Unfair. And then so many people in the family and so many friends and, even friends in the industry having strong union streaks. Then I commenced to wondering, would they cross the line? Whose side would they be on? Would they be on management, Joe Cosgrove's side, or would they be on the side of labor, Bill Cosgrove's side? It was never going to happen, but I got to admit it was something that's a lot of fun then, a lot of fun now to think about. Anyway, they got along fine, and, we knew they would. Anyway, that's my tale for today. Thanks for watching and listening. Please like and please subscribe. Please comment. I'd welcome the input. In the meantime, this is Marty going from the sublime to the ridiculous. Joe Cosgrove Unfair, Joe Cosgrove Unfair, Joe Cosgrove Unfair. I can't keep saying that. That's just wrong.